It's getting cold already. We're now on October. Deepen your compassion this October. Let's talk about love. A different kind of love. Do you remember giving love to yourself? Are you allowing yourself to be seen and heard for what you truly are? Do you choose to give love freely and share it generously with others? Every day, try to take it a step further by reaching out and extending an act of sympathy to those who test your patience, to those who might not deserve it, and to those who cannot return the favor, such as animals and natural resources. Know that your love is too good not to share. It will lift others up and bear countless fruits when you least expect it. Fill your heart with good deeds. For every puzzle piece, jot down the name of the person or group that you showed kindness to this month. That's it! We hope this was helpful, and let's all give love by deepening our compassion to others, and of course, to ourselves.
Who am I? Sino nga ba ako? It's easy to get stuck in uncertainty and fear. It's been so hard for everyone this year. The present-day realities have made us believe that the future holds nothing to look forward to. Now more than ever is the time to acknowledge our multifaceted strengths. When we boldly answer, I am, to the question, who am I? We're calling out to an explosion of beautiful affirmations about ourselves that we need to be reminded of so we can move forward with our inner compass directing us towards our ultimate goal, joy. The BDJ 2022 Power Planner is an invitation to show up and trust in the soulful alignment of yourself and of your dreams. BDJ will be here with you as you intuitively recognize and continue growing your greatness.
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hello. And I'm so excited. I don't know if you guys missed me from our series of lives last week. And I'm here again this Tuesday night. And you will see me again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll see each other again. And then next Tuesday, you'll see me again. Because today, we are showcasing a two-part episode for the Strengths Finder, embracing your strengths, exploring your strengths, and creating breakthroughs with our strengths. And Strengths Finder is something that I want to share with you guys today because this is something that has been part of my personal self-development journey and at the same time, part of the journey of our whole company in Viviamo. So I'm just so excited to be able to share this with you. And syempre, hindi naman ako pwedeng magsalita lang without having a special guest for tonight because I'm not an expert in this, but I'm just like a fan of this. And I hope you guys can engage with us actively. This will be a short session, like around 30-40 minutes, but I hope you can interact with us. And tag your friend, please, because the more people watching us tonight, the more prizes we will be giving away. And these are exciting prizes. Sabi nga ni Belle, our budolera, is that parang gusto niyang manalo ng prize. So sabi ko, wala. For you guys lang to, for the public. So, guys, please tag your friends. Please listen in, and maybe if you guys ask some questions, we'll be able to help you figure out your strengths. And without further ado, I will bring in my expert tonight, our friend. You've seen her in our past events. She's one of our favorite, and she is a positive psychologist. So, diba, more than just a psychologist. For me, positive psychology is something very different. It focuses on what's what's good about you, what's good about us, instead of what's wrong with us. And part of this positive psychology is, of course, the strengths finder, which we'll talk about tonight. And Celine has been part of our community also, and that's why I'm very happy to have her again. I hope you guys remember her in our past episodes. And with that, without further ado, I'll bring in Celine. Hello, Celine. Welcome.
Hi,
Hello.
Dar. Hello, Bellas.
Happy birthday, guys. Please greet
Thank you.
Celine. Happy birthday.
Yes,
Sobrang special.
I said no work today, but today, well, this is not work. This is hanging out with the Bellas. So
Yes,
this is
yes.
perfectly fine. Thank you again for having me today, Dar.
Thank you, Celine. And thank you for indulging us on your birthday. Spending time with us na parang to share nga. I think it's part of your passion also during that you shared in the past, diba? Na I think when we met, hindi ko pa nga alam yung Strengths Finder eh. Nauna kita i-meet before Strengths Finder, right?
Yes, I believe so. And I think my first event with BDJ was maybe 2016, 2017. And it
Yeah,
wasn't about
first
strengths just yet.
it wasn't about strengths, and I just remember na parang for me at least, parang learning about positive psychology was something parang mind-blowing kasi parang hindi siya hindi siya commonly talked about, I guess. And people don't know much about it. As I mean, ngayon siguro more people, but before I think parang it was more the traditional psychology. Would you want to share more about positive psychology? Baka I'm
Sure. Yeah, no,
rambling
and
here.
and you're right. Actually, now when I introduce myself, everyone's like, "What's a positive psychologist?" Ano yun? Or even like in workshops, I'll be like, "How many of you have heard of positive psychology before?" I'd be lucky na if there's like one person who raises their hand and says they've heard of it. But then a lot of times they'll say, "Yes, I've heard of it. You just said it." So, parang, okay, thank you. Yeah, but it's super exciting. I actually get excited to introduce positive psychology to people. And so positive psychology is actually generally a new branch of psychology. So psychology is your study of human behavior, diba? Pero yung traditional psychology nga, when you think of it, it has a lot to do with focusing on what we're bad at, what's wrong with us. It's focusing on disorders. In fact, for me to become a psychologist, I studied a Bible this thick, all just what's wrong
What's
with
wrong with
humans,
people?
right? Um, and so in the late 1990s, parang they realized, oh wait, parang there needs to be a shift. And so positive psychology was born. And it's a term coined by Dr. Martin Seligman. And he actually used to do a lot of therapy as well. And yun, he started seeing that there needs to be a shift. So it's really being able to focus on what's right with you. And if you think about it, I'm sure, a lot of the Bellas are super familiar with positive psychology. You just might not know it's actually positive psychology. So things like, um, you know, uh, gratitude, right?
Yes.
Being able to be mindfulness activities. Those are all they all fall under positive psychology.
Correct,
And parang,
correct.
I want to say more, but at the same time, I'm like, we're you're I know in the 2022 release of the planners um
Mm-hmm.
there I actually talk more about positive psychology there. So parang I'm like, I think you should just wait to see that so that I don't see more. Baka
Yes,
ulitin ko
yes.
yung nandun eh.
Hindi naman. I'm sure there's a lot of dimensions in positive psychology, and um ako personally, I really just resonate with it. And I guess, well, as you said, na parang unconsciously we do practice a lot of positive psychology. Kasi parang like what we have, like affirmations in BDJ, right? 'Di ba? And then like parang vision boarding, focusing on parang what we want to go into in versus just focusing na parang what did we do wrong, blah blah blah, 'di ba? And then beating ourselves up.
Yeah.
So, I think parang yun nga, we just didn't have a formal or proper term for it. And I'm just happy to be able to do that. So, Celine, in terms of our topic for tonight, kasi yun nga, we met even before we found out about Strengths Finder. Can you tell us about our topic about strengths?
Sure. So strengths actually does fall under positive psychology. What's even more amazing was that uh, parang nauna yung strength psychology. So the assessment that's called Clifton Strengths. Some of you know it as Strengths Finder. It was created by Donald Clifton. And in the 1950s pa lang, so zero positive
Wow.
psychology, in the
Oh,
1950s, he already started asking the question, what will happen when people think of what's right with them and what's right with others instead of focusing on what's wrong with them? And if you think about it, right, it sounds so simple. But then when I first heard that question, I was so struck by it because I was like, oh nga naman, no, why is psychology so focused on disorders, on what's wrong with people when there are lots of things that are good about us? And I noticed that within myself also, that we're so quick to judge ourselves. We're so quick to point out what's wrong with ourselves. When we make a mistake, we think about that for days and days and days.
yes,
But when we
yes.
do something good, it's like, yay, I did this, and then wala na, tapos na, the end, right?
Mhm.
We don't
Correct,
even
correct.
get to savor the moments when we actually are doing something well. It will be maybe a one-time thing, and then it's not something we're going to keep thinking about for the next few days. We feel great about it, and then maybe it's something that we don't share with other people. But when we
Correct.
do something wrong, or we think we made the mistake, may it be I might have said the wrong thing, right? Or I shouldn't have done this, or I made a mistake in my reports at work, or whatever it is. We think about it over and over, that it stops us from sleeping. And so even that
Mhm.
simple shift, right, of thinking of what's right with us can make a huge difference in how you move around your days and how you even interact with people. And and I know Dar said 30 to 40 minutes, but I'm like, I can keep talking about this all day. So, so maybe Dar, you want to ask me more questions so that I don't keep this rambling on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in terms of this, like focusing on what's right with us instead of what's wrong with us, mali yung pag-type ko sa banner. um, I parang you mentioned but you were studying this already with Clifton Strengths was actually exploring this study in 1950s, and then the positive psychology term actually just came around 1990s, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um Siguro, can you share with us how did you, I don't know, encounter all these concepts, and what was your first experience of it personally?
So, strengths itself, I had heard of it in about 2009, and I was taking up my master's in psychology. I was looking for a personality assessment that I could use as something to use in reporting in class for a project. And but then when I came across it, I came across this book. So it's called Living Your Strengths, and I hesitated because then my teacher was American. I wasn't sure about his religion. And the Living Your Strengths book is a really great Christian book. It uses the strengths assessment. At the same time, it connects it to religion, connects it to Christianity, and your belief in God. And it had Bible verses. So I was kind of like, maybe I won't use this na lang. So I decided not to. I put it aside, but I found it great. I found it like, oh wow, I was so interested in it. I wanted to learn more about it. But because of that whole thing, and I wasn't sure how my teacher would respond to it, I didn't use it. And I came across it again in 2014. So,
Mm.
um, and it was perfect timing because I was at the tail end of my master's degree. I was just finishing up my thesis, but I was kind of lost. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to do, talk therapy, because I'm good with people. I'm good at talking to people. And no other job allows me to do that, but to be a counselor, right? To be a
Mhm.
psychologist. But I was super lost in that sense that I didn't know, like, a lot of my friends knew that they like dealing with anxiety cases, or some were really interested in, let's say, substance abuse. They knew what types of clients they liked dealing with and what types of cases they wanted to keep studying about. And for me, it was just like, disorder na naman, I-memorize ko na naman to, puro negative lang to. I found it draining and I couldn't find a topic that I wanted to keep learning about. When I came across strengths, a friend actually talked about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I know about that. So I kind of tried to look for my results. I found
Mm-hmm.
it. And when I read my report, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes total sense. So if you haven't taken the Clifton Strengths Assessment, when you take it, what happens is it gives you your results, your top 5 results out of 34. And so your top 5, they're called talent themes. So a talent theme is basically a group of talents, things you're naturally good at. And because there's so many in the world, they grouped it together and then they gave that group a name. And so that's the theme. So my first two is maximizer and positivity. Maximizer, people with high maximizer, we like quality over quantity. If something is good, it can't just be good, it has to be great. So if it's working already, it has to work its very, very best. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, maybe this is why I'm struggling a little in counseling, because I wasn't, I felt like my clients weren't really moving. While yes, it was helping, it was bad, taking them from bad to good rather than from good to great. And I was like, okay, well, there's some, there's some good in that, right? In what I'm doing. So I kept going. What was more even striking for me was the second one, which is positivity. And my positivity, I like to cheer people on. I'm pretty sure you can all tell I'm such a happy person. Right? My energy, I bring my energy in. And I can't do that in sessions. When I'm in therapy sessions, I can't just be like, yeah, you can do it. You're great. Oh my gosh, you're so good at this. I can't do that at all. Because, the cases I deal with, they're cases where there is a lot of challenge. Um, and so I was finding that while, yes, I was good at what I do and I was helping people, I felt that I wasn't allowed to be myself in sessions.
Yes.
And so that's
Mm.
when I started shifting and I was like, oh, I want to start learning about this. And what's nice was I didn't totally shift because I still do take on counseling cases. I just know which cases I can take on that I'm able to be myself, to still show up very authentic, right? Rather than stopping myself from being who I am.
Yes.
I
Yes.
told
I
you I can
super.
keep talking. And there are questions already about where can we take the test? Is
Oo
there a
nga eh,
link?
meron na. I will share it in the I just grabbed the link. I'll share it in the chat box. But
And
yes,
and
ako,
thank you also for all the greetings. Thanks for celebrating today with me.
yeah, I really love how strengths actually, yun nga, focus, kasi usually yun nga eh, parang we lock in. I remember na parang usually out of the 10 things, there's one thing that's wrong with you. I mean, everybody focuses on what's wrong, the one out of the
Yeah.
10. So even
Yeah.
if it's one, diba, yun, people will naturally just focus on what's wrong. And so it was like sobrang a new concept talaga to me. Oo nga, no, why are we not focusing on the nine things that are so great about us? And we keep on parang burning ourselves or beating ourselves up for that one out of 10 that we're not as good or not or bad at even, 'di ba? Tapos
Absolutely.
I felt also ako naman with strengths. It felt that I was able to embrace some natural strengths that people didn't always understand about me. Yun yung sa akin. Kasi you have positivity, I have command in
Yes,
my
and so
top 10. So,
right. And so I'm sure, Dar, right, what most people would have seen or have experienced from you was even before strengths, right, would have been like,
mhm.
oh, maybe it's the label of being bossy, right?
Correct, correct.
Or
Yeah.
kind of sometimes even being a snob to a certain point,
Mhm,
because of
mhm.
that strong presence that you bring and that you really know what you want and you get it done exactly how you want it done.
Correct, correct. So, when I found out about these strengths, syempre, I mean, there's always, I guess, parang different people have different reactions to their own strength. Some people like it, some, yeah, that makes sense. Some people feel bad also sometimes, like parang shocks, bakit kulang ako ng, let's say, kulang ako ng ganitong strength or that strength. Um, for me, I found it very affirming because I realized that yun nga, the command can be used as a strength. So I'm not also saying that when I found out about that strength, I already knew how to make a strength out of it, right?
Yes. And that's the difference between the talent and the strength. So command, when you
Correct.
found out, right, it's a group of talents. Okay, command. I have the talents of command. But now maybe, right, how you used to use it before, maybe it used to people would feel bad or they'd get
Correct.
offended
Correct.
or some way of that. So it was kind of getting in your way and in their way, even if it was something that came so naturally to you. And so you learned how to develop it, you learned how to use it, that you and others benefit from it rather than it being, well, this is how I am, then this is how I am. So
Correct.
it's not that case, right? That yes, you have the talent, but you want to make sure that how you use it benefits yourself and others.
Yes, correct. Because each of our strengths or talents, yun nga, sabi nga ni Celine, is can be used for good and bad. Or parang there's a mature or immature, I guess that's a better phrase. Like
Yeah.
an immature way of applying something. So which means it's not empowering to you or other people. But when you are able to parang understand it more, you're able to empower yourself and other people. And it parang it just lights you up. I feel like parang for me with command before when I wasn't able to understand it or accept that about myself. Parang personally, yung feeling ko na parang sinasabi ako high school pa lang ang lakas naman ng dating mo, parang ganyan. May gano'n na parang, wala nga akong ginagawa, malakas yung dating ko. I mean, and
Right.
then I felt judged, obviously, right? Na parang I felt judged and I felt bad na parang as if I'm a bad person just because that was my, in a way, my natural energy. But I guess as I matured, I learned, I understand more about myself. I was able to figure out, okay, so this is the benefit or this is the genius of command, and this is also a bad side or the immature version of command. So
Yes.
now it's figuring out the right way to use it as a strength so it empowers myself and the other people around me.
Absolutely. And when you get to know more about your talents, right, and how you develop it, you're actually also able to use it intentionally. A lot of times,
Correct,
right, when
correct.
we take personality assessments, what happens is, oh, nice to know, or like, yeah, I'm command. And then it stays
What?
there.
Yeah.
Or
Now what? Yeah.
or you end up using it as an excuse, right? So, and we
Yes,
do
that's
that,
the
we hear
worst
this a
thing.
lot. We hear this a lot with, let's say, if you're an extrovert or an introvert. Ah, I don't want to
Introvert
talk to
kasi
people,
ako eh.
introvert
Yeah.
kasi ako.
Yeah.
Or I don't like people, introvert kasi ako. But that's not actually what an introvert means.
Mm-mm.
Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you can't be sociable with people. You can.
Yes.
And so it's the same thing. What happens is, oh, command kasi ako, so bahala kayo. You have to listen to me. And so,
Correct.
right,
Exactly.
it becomes an excuse. So
Mm,
that's also not
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 good.
what
Yeah.
strengths is hoping
All
for,
about.
right?
Yeah.
What strengths aims to do is, now because you know your command, you can now develop it, you can learn knowledge, you can learn skills, right?
Mm-mm.
You can add on all these tools that you might need so that you can intentionally use your command, so that maybe in high stressful situations when people don't know what to do, command can definitely come in and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. And then you have a clear strategy, or you can get people together, you get people to listen to the direction that you want to go to, right, rather than it just being bossy in that sense.
Yes. Correct. Correct. There's a beautiful question here from Diane. Is it possible that the top five strengths in Clifton change with your growth?
Yeah, so here's the thing. It's usually not advisable to take it a second time, because when you take it the second time, there tends to be this bias, unconscious bias that you
Yes.
have, because
Mm-mm.
you're familiar with assessment. And in fact, a lot of the personality assessments, we don't recommend that you take it a second time. It depends on per assessment. But with the Clifton Strengths one, because you're familiar with it, you can drive your answers. I
Yes.
actually have clients where they've taken it a second, third. I even had a client took it 5 times
Wow.
before they found me as a coach. And then when they found me as a coach, they were like, I should have just gotten a coach to begin with. um, and
Yes.
and so he knew that he by the third time he was like, oh, I want this talent theme. Tapos pinapalabas na niya. So, napapalabas niya sa top
Mm,
5. But in
correct, correct.
reality, it was very, very low. Because it is an assessment after all, right? When you know how the assessment works, which is, after seeing it once, you can totally game the system. So I would say like your first one would usually be the most accurate
Most
one.
accurate.
And instead of wasting your money and spending another assessment, I would say get a coach or
Coach.
learn. Not even not I mean, by all means, not even coaching, maybe attend sessions that allow you to learn more
Yes.
about it, read more about it. Gallup, if you look them up on YouTube, they have all these things that are free. They have something called Theme Thursdays where they focus on a
Yes.
specific theme out of the 34. I believe they're on their fourth or their fifth cycle now. So you can watch like a total of 5 videos all about one theme. So you can learn so much. There's so much free content. Go to Gallup's website. There's so much free content that you can use. That instead of taking the test again, learn more about your themes and start developing them. That's one best way of making the most out of your money, really.
I agree. I agree. I agree also in the first test, and I remember like in some cases some coaches would say even nga, if especially if you have like a high restorative, then parang you feel this is something wrong with you, ma-adjust mo eh. Parang
Right.
magi-game mo talaga nga yung system.
Yeah.
And ako,
I,
I really
mhm.
trust also your first instinct. Kasi like, I think before you take the test, diba, sinasabi niya, just choose one that resonates the most for you, right? But like, there's no right or wrong answer. You just have
Yes.
to choose. Diba? Tapos, I don't know, 30 seconds lang ba or 10 seconds, I don't know. Then
20.
choose. 20, ayan.
Yes.
So, yung iba na pressure. But guys,
Right. So here's a quick example of that. In the chat, because I know there are people watching, right? So in the chat, and engagement, and quick exercise. I'm going to give you 2 options. I want you to pick one quickly. Type it in the chat. Which one you prefer? Okay. So which one do you prefer? Cake or ice cream? Type it in the chat. Go. Cake or ice cream?
cake or ice cream game. Meron na nag-okay. Medyo lang meron tayong Facebook
Yeah,
lag.
I know, ayan. Ice cream, cake, okay. So may answers na. Cake, cake, cake.
Ayan, ayan.
Ayan. Yan yung choices ko today kasi birthday ko. So, ayan. So, diba, in less than 20 seconds, maybe not even 5 seconds, you instantly knew I prefer cake or I prefer ice cream. But now that there's more time to think about it, oh, I prefer cake if it's not chocolate cake. If it's ice cream, it has to be like this specific brand. But if it's not, then I'll have cake na lang. And then you're gonna overthink it, and then you're gonna get stuck, and then you don't know anymore if you're going to pick cake or ice
Cake or
cream.
ice cream, yeah.
And that's why there's a 20-second timer. Because remember what it tries to capture is the natural things about you. The things that come so natural that you don't think twice about it. These are things that you do, and that sometimes you don't even know you're doing it. And it's so
Correct,
amazing because
correct.
when you read your report, the Badar, it feels like it read your mind. It's like, how can a piece of paper know who I am? Right?
Yes.
I get
Mm-mm.
comments like, what is this sorcery? Or what is this magic? How is it reading who I am? Right?
Mm-mm.
Because it was able to capture that natural, the thing that is natural within you. I believe, Dar, there was a second part of that question, which I might not have answered, which was something about having life changes or with
Yes.
growth. Sorry, with
Yeah.
growth. So there is a chance that your results might change if there's a big life changing event. And for me, like I have met people where it's changed. And if remember, the results are there, a total of 34 talent themes. When you take the basic test, it only gives you your top 5 out of the 34. um, and so when we say life changing events and it drastically changes, it means the top five is no longer in the top and the bottom is no longer in the bottom. They really totally jumble up, right? If you're looking at the five, that can actually move around between 10 because your
Yes.
dominant is until 10, which you don't see if you're only taking the basic assessment. So if you take the full thing, you'll see the whole 34. It is a little more expensive. And the top five is actually a lot to work with already. So it
Yeah.
can change in that sense. How do you know if it's a life changing event? Some people think, oh, because I became a mom or because I changed jobs. This really has to be like a huge life changing event. For me, the biggest clue that it has had a huge impact on you would be, do you see the world differently? Do you feel like you're completely different from how you used to function? Maybe your values have changed, your priorities have completely changed. If your answer to all those things are yes, then maybe it's time to take it again, right? But if you're actually still the who you are, the functioning the way you are, I wouldn't take it again.
Mm-mm. Sa akin naman, the insight I also have with that, I mean, sometimes I feel like people don't under that's why I agree with your recommendation to at least learn more about the strengths, because I appreciated it in one of the exercises in the workshops before, na parang which of your top five do you not resonate with.
Yeah, yeah,
So parang, 'di ba, parang meron, you can like, ito parang this is me talaga. Tapos meron kang isa na parang, ito hindi ako sure talaga, ito ako or something, yung mga gano'n.
right.
Um, and then it opens up actually that it is also part of you, except that you haven't given it much attention, number one. Or number two, it's a strength that you have not accepted as a strength.
Absolutely. And it's sometimes, and my encounter with that, Dar, is that sometimes there's a lack of self awareness. You don't know that part of yourself, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it does give you that opportunity to increase your self awareness because you get to know that part of yourself. The other one is sometimes people just misunderstand what the theme is.
Yes, correct.
So
Exactly.
while it does use English sounding words, it doesn't follow the English definition of it. Like my
Mm-hmm.
favorite one is relator. There's a theme called
Mm-hmm.
relator,
It's my
and
number
people
two.
think there, right?
Go,
Yeah, so maybe Dar, you can tell us what
go,
is
go, ikaw
relator
muna.
for you.
Ikaw muna. Uh, actually, diba yun, relator can actually, can connect with different people. But the relator, among the relationship building strengths, is the most cliquish. That's my best definition for it. Kasi, the relator connects more on a one-to-one. So, they have a hard time, like, when it's, like, a lot of people and then connecting in that level. So, and then at the same time, it's really all about trust.
Yes,
It's
definitely.
super about trust. It's like operating on trust mode. Like, ganon.
Yes, perfectly explained, Dar. Like absolutely. So people with relator, they understand that like, oh, relator, I'm good with people. That's what they translate it to,
Mhm.
because they relate well with people. That's the misunderstanding there. And so a lot of my clients who tend to have like issues with the relator, it's like, but I'm not a relator. And then when we
Yeah.
dig deeper into it, it's like, oh, I am a relator. So it's going
Yes.
beyond the English understanding of relator
The
the theme.
words. Yes.
It's really like, yes, relators are actually good at building deep relationships,
Correct.
one-on-one relationships, rather than, yeah, let's go to a party and let's meet people and I can connect with everyone. That's not what relator means in terms
Correct.
of
Hindi ko siya
in terms
kaya.
of the Clifton strengths. Exactly there. So
Oo.
it tends to be the misunderstanding, right? We don't completely
Mhm.
understand what the report is talking about, and so we get locked into the English definition.
Yes, exactly. Agree. Super agree. And for me, like, even if I've been somewhat immersed in it since 2018 naman, I think ako 2018, 19, 20, 21. And then in fact, yun nga, I'm so in love with this test, for everyone's watching, that our whole company, we have everyone tested. And it's not, and again, I guess I would, there's no perfect combination of strengths that fits a particular job. So because sometimes people say, ano ba yung kailangan to be high performing or whatever. There's no right combination. Everything's perfect. You're perfect. And with our company, I guess that's what we also want to try to work on. I mean, I'm not saying we're perfect in it because it's honestly incredibly difficult. And I'll tell you also why. The reason it's super difficult is, I don't know if my number is still correct or accurate, is that if you compare your 1 to 34, there is no one alive right now that has the same sequence as your 34 strengths.
Yes. And
'Diba? One
it
out of 376 trillion ba? Or something like that. Or
no, it's like
76 trillion.
it's not even trillion. It's something like 250 tapos parang eight eight
Basta,
zero eight
baka
eight sets
billion.
of zeros or something like that after. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but yes, I have that on one of
Like
my slides.
super.
Um,
Yeah.
and maybe just to give you an idea, right? That's a little smaller would be if just looking at your top five, not even looking at the full 34. Just looking at your top five, to have someone else with the same exact top five in the same exact order, like the 1 to 5 is the same order, it's 1 in 33 million people.
Mhm.
That's how unique you are, and that's only talking about your results from strengths, right? You're not even considering your knowledge, your knowledge, your skills, your experiences, your expertise, right? That's not even counted, and because that's completely uniquely you, and no one can
Correct, correct.
be you. And so that's what's so mind-boggling for me, right? We're so unique, and you can bring that uniqueness, and you can bring that uniqueness to contribute to whoever is around you, to your jobs even. But we spend a lot of our time trying to be someone else, right?
Yes.
It's whether it's, oy, ang galing ni Dar, I want to be like Dar. While yes, it's good to look up to people, it's good to learn from others. What you want to be able to do is, let's look at that person, see what they're good at, take that and make it our own. Find a way to make it work
Correct.
for ourselves rather than trying to be exactly like the other person.
Mhm. The analogy I have here, because I'm a Harry Potter fan, is that we all have our magic. Parang,
Yes.
'di ba, our specialization magic. Kasi each person, 'di ba, they really had their natural talent. And the thing is, we're expecting whatever natural talent that Celine has. That, oh no, I really like what Celine is doing, so I want to be like her. And then I try to do things, but like what she's doing or how she's doing it, but it's not exactly my natural way. And then I struggle in doing what Celine is doing. And then I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I'm bad. I feel like I'm not as smart. I'm not as hardworking. I'm not as whatever. All of these, I'm not enough.
Right.
And that's the problem. And that also would connect to our lack of acceptance of ourselves, kasi parang we compare it unconsciously to the standards of the other people, or the people we admire, right? Na dapat kasi ganyan. So yun yung nagiging problem on our self-development.
Definitely. Something I like about strengths also, it actually makes relationships so much easier. When you know what the other person's strengths are, when you can you're able to work better together, even your non-work related stuff, your personal relationships. Like for me, I recently got married in June, and
Yes.
when I started when I started dating my now husband, I actually asked him to take strengths. And one of the things that I used to, my biggest challenge before when we started dating was when I say something, because one of my results is communication. So I'm good at getting my message across. And then for me, when I say something, that's what I mean. I don't want you to read in between the lines. There's no hidden
Mm,
message. There's no
mm.
guessing game. But for him, like when I say something, he tries to decode it and read between the lines. And I'm like, there are no lines to be read between. Or sometimes I would ask like a question of, how was your day? And then he'll talk about something for 20 minutes. And then at the end of it, I'm like, So
What's
how
the
was
point?
your day? How was this the answer? And I would get so frustrated by it, and then I'd get annoyed by it. And then eventually I said, "Here, take the assessment." And then I read his results, and I'm like, "Oh, it comes from there." And then, okay, now I understand what happens, and
Mhm.
what
In
what makes
your
you
head, yeah.
answer. Yeah, what makes you
Yeah.
answer this way. And so from there, we found a way where I'm like, "Can you answer my question first, and then give me the whole backstory?"
Context.
So,
Context
and
pa.
then give me the context, right? Or sometimes it's like, okay, at the end of it, I'm laughing already, I'm giggling, and he's like, "Yes, I didn't answer the question," so he'll know already. And so we work better together rather than getting
Yes.
frustrated at each other. I'm curious, Dar, how about for you and your team? What have you seen that has changed because you use strengths?
I think honestly, it was like but before I answer that question, related to our husband. So for everyone who has partners, the first time I took the strengths was actually because of a recommendation by Janice of Mommy Mundo. Janice was saying, "Oh my God, Dar, this will save your marriage." Ganun yung press release niya sa akin. "This is really something you need to do as a couple because parang this explains everything." Parang gumaganon siya sa akin. Sabi ko, "Okay, sige, sige. I mean, not that I was having problems with marriage right that time. It's really just na parang sabi, oh nga no, let's look at this. What is this?" Diba ganun? So anyway, yun lang. So I also recommend it for important relationships, even business relationships like your team, ganyan. Kaya, ganun nga sa company. In our company, how it changed how we work, I guess parang in a way, we became more aware of our strengths initially, 'di ba? I mean, yun naman talaga yung baseline eh. And then trying to understand ourselves better. And the important thing I think was really figuring out our own triggers
Yeah,
and then being responsible for it. I think the biggest lesson for me from strengths is that like what you said earlier, 1 out of 33 million. It's really how different we are.
right,
Kasi sobrang natural, let's say for me, na um, kuwari, any kind of strengths that you have, you don't feel like you're special, right? In general, when we're being honest, like when you ask yourself, I no, I'm just the same as the other person beside me, and so on. So you think naturally na whatever your strength is also the strength of the person beside you.
right.
So like for me, my number one is learner. So I don't know if it's obvious, like that's why we're so many learning sessions. And ever since I started the company, may judgment talaga ako sa mga tao na ayaw matuto. As in judgment, meaning, ano badly put nga, parang, may kwenta ka bang tao kung ayaw mong matuto? Gets, gano'n. As in, ganong level. Judge
Yeah,
talaga siya, judgment. So parang when I meet people who probably have learner in their, lower, as not strength, like maybe 34, 30, as in, parang nasisense mo siya eh. Tapos, parang, what's wrong with you? Parang may ganun ka na. So, I think the best thing it did for us, it somewhat gives a perspective na when we become judgy of each other, and let's admit it, guys, we're all judgers.
absolutely. Everyone is. So
Yeah.
am I, because we're all
Yeah.
human.
Yes, we're all human. So parang it's someone's parang in a way parang you can pause or you can take the time to pause. Oh wait, wait, wait. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm just looking at this using my strengths lens. And I'm
absolutely.
expecting someone to be like me when they're not.
Yeah. And what comes to mind is actually, you know how like now we say a lot of, "Di ba common sense yan?" That's common sense, right? Interestingly, common sense is not so common because what's common to you, what's normal to you, it's not the same way how the other person processes it, right? The same
Correct, correct,
situation, we're seeing it very differently. What's coming so easily and quickly for you might not be what's coming so easily and quickly for the other person. But something
correct,
is coming easily and quickly for them. It's just not what you're seeing, also, right?
correct, exactly.
And
Yeah,
just maybe to add on, Dar, this is why my personal purpose, and which is my personal brand, which is celebrate your sparkle. Kind of like your magic, right? Your Harry Potter magic, that each of
Yes.
us have our own sparkle, and you want to be able to celebrate what's good about you rather than saying, oh, but I need to be this other person, or why can't I be like them, or why can't they be like me, right? So it's
Mhm.
allowing yourself to celebrate your uniqueness, and it's allowing yourself to celebrate the uniqueness of the other person also.
Mhm. Yes. And ayan, since ang dami na namin na share about strengths, magpapamigay na tayo today ng because we're celebrating Coach Celine's birthday. So
Yes.
we're giving away two Strengths Finders tests today. So,
Yes,
ano bang
definitely.
question natin?
Hindi ko alam.
Our question, and then siguro pabilisan, and Belle,
and
our back
and
end.
by all means, if you've taken the assessment, gift it. Give it as a gift to someone else, right?
Yes. So
Yes.
I'll flash a question, um, and answer it, and then si Belle bahala na pumili ng answer. Baka best answer. Belle, are
Best
you
answer
ready?
for Belle. So if you
Best
know who
answer
Belle
for Belle.
is, you know what will capture Belle's attention. And that's one thing that's great about strengths also. You know how to talk to the other person that will work best for the other person.
Wait.
Ayan.
Hindi. Ayan, ready na ba? Ready na ba? Fastest internet, fastest fingers. And then, syempre, kailangan quality, guys. Okay, so here's the question. What's the best value for strengths in your life? Ayan.
Wow.
Ayan.
What a good question. So Dar, which of your themes are you using that helped you come up with that question?
Ideation.
There, ideation.
Yeah. I don't know. I parang appreciating ideation in this pandemic because I realized nga na parang I don't generally have a good memory. But
Mhm.
with ideation, parang, di ba, it connects a lot of dots. It branches out. Once it localizes in a certain context, mas naaalala ko siya. And it explains a lot na parang, and it reminds me also na parang not everyone can connect the dots as fast as I can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
Ayan,
Ayan, Miss Universe,
mukhang napaisip sila.
masyadong malalim to,
Parang
guys.
parang parang napa-philosophize pa sila eh. Parang philosophy class lang siya na,
Oo,
what is
philosophy.
life? Parang ganon.
Oo,
Ayan.
ayan, may answers na tayo coming in.
Hi,
Oo,
Diane.
yeah.
I think it's been a while since I've heard from you, but I've met her before in a BDJ event.
Ah, really? Wow,
Yes.
galing ng memory mo.
Si Aiza din. I've met Aiza
Oo,
also.
yes.
Yan.
Oo. Guys, no right or wrong answer kasi best value naman for you in your life, 'di ba? Oo.
Oh, I like this.
Um,
So Diane says it helps me relate myself with other people and accept our differences and work out something on it.
yes, nice,
Nice.
nice, nice. Okay, sige. I think nahihiya pa yung mga iba. I can throw in an easier question. Baka what do you think without any knowledge on strengths? What do you think is your natural strength or talent?
I like that. Yeah. So what are you good at?
Mm-mm. So for the second winner to. Tapos magpapamigay pa kami ng one of the reasons we started this event, this episode, two-part episode, um, is because we are also promoting the Strengths Conference that is happening end of month. So, October 22 to 23.
Yes, October 22 to 23, and it's only in the afternoons. So it starts at 1 p.m. And maybe, is it okay if I just share a little bit about the
Yes,
conference?
please
Yeah,
go.
so let me
While
share my
people are thinking
screen.
about their answers.
And then we'll pick our winners after.
Mm-hmm.
There. There you go. Great. Thank you. So the Strengths Conference has actually been running since 2018. And in 2018, all the way until last year, I was one of the organizers of the conference. The conference, it used to be in person and I super miss it. But
I
what's
miss it
great
also.
about, yes, right, Dar? Yes, you were in, BDJ has been our partner for the
Yes.
conference ever since. And so that's been fantastic. And so, what is the Strengths Philippines conference? Strengths Philippines is a community of coaches, and we're all Gallup trained coaches. So we've all graduated from the course of Gallup, certifying us to be able to use the Clifton Strengths assessment in our coaching practice. And I say trained because some people don't actually complete the certification process, but they have all the knowledge, they have all the tools to be able to use the assessment. In the community, we have over 160 coach members already. So Strengths Philippines in itself, the members are all coaches. Um, and so in 2018, we thought of let's come up with a conference. And this conference is the largest community led strengths conference in the world because the only other strengths conference that you'll hear about is the summit, which is actually organized by Gallup themselves. And that's huge. But in terms of how we do the conference, all the coaches in our community are the volunteers. A lot of the speakers are also from the community of coaches, and we're all volunteers, so none of us get paid. And then there's definitely a diverse topics to choose from. We usually have something around well-being. This year we do have one or two topics around well-being. We have a lot of things from in the corporate sense, how to build high-performing teams, and then we also have personal development. Like last year, we actually had someone talk about finances. And this year, what we're doing a little bit different is we're actually going to be using a platform. Last year, because the lockdown was new, the digital world was super new. We actually made use of Facebook group and Zoom, and that was fun. It was an adventure. But this time, it's going to be on Huva, which is a conference platform. So you get to also meet the other coaches. You get to send chat messages to whoever you want. You'll see all the participants lined on the platform as well, and you can send a message to people. And we also, what's exciting about the platform is there are engagement questions also. You can even post a question also, and other people will answer you. And then the registration fee for a 2 half-day session is only 788 pesos. And because we love the Bellas, we love BDJ, just for specifically for this week, all the way until Friday, we're offering, which was the early bird rate at 688 pesos. So only until Friday and only to the Bellas. So just 100 pesos off. But think about it, 2 half days from
Mm-hmm.
1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 6:30 on the first day, and then on the second day it's until about 7 o'clock, and that's jam packed. And what's super exciting is these are our speakers. Sorry, gumalaw yung text ko, but these are our speakers. And if you know anything about Gallup or about strengths already, Jim Collison is actually, for me, a big deal. It's like he's the strengths person. He does all the YouTube videos of Gallup. He's the one who does, together with Micah, they do the Theme Thursdays videos. So it's so exciting. He's actually said yes to us to being a keynote speaker. Um, and then we also have like the RD, Ven, Michael, and Carlo. There's going to be a business panel, which we've never done before. So RD will be hosting this business panel, and the three leaders of like really big companies will be joining us, talking to us how they use strengths, how they've benefited from strengths, how they even roll it out within their companies. And they're also going to be sharing some personal benefits of strengths. And then we do have a number of other speakers also, and these are just the day one speakers. And then in day two, which is another exciting thing, because we not only have Jim Collison from Gallup, we have Danny Lee and Saurav Atri from Gallup. So this is the first time we're going to have 3 keynote speakers from Gallup and a business panel as well. And of course, I'm speaking also.
Yes,
So
with your new surname.
yes, I know, but my official surname is Sugay-Costales. But yes, masyado daw mahaba. So they cut out my Sugay. But I'm
Mhm.
keeping Sugay-Costales. But yes, and in that time, so, because it's diverse, we know we have a lot of different participants. Our specific session, I'll be together with Bernard and Aliyah and Lilibeth and Marivic. And what we're actually going to be talking about is how to use strengths for students. So, how do you empower your kids, the youth? And we're talking about it in a very different aspect. So, Marivic, she owns a school and she's going to be talking about how the school uses strengths and how they use it for the teachers and for the development of kids. Bernard is going to be
Nice.
talking about parenting, how he has used
Mhm.
it to raise his kids. I don't have kids, I don't have a school. So I'm going to be talking about it from an external point of view because I have done a number of programs for students and schools. I also
Yes.
have, coaching clients who are students. And then Aliyah, this is amazing. Aliyah is in first year college and she is a Gallup certified strengths coach.
Wow,
And
that's
so she's a
amazing.
student and she's going to be sharing how she,
Oh, she's the daughter of Aya Del Rosario.
yes. And so she's going to be sharing her strengths, her journey with strengths and how it has helped her as she transitioned into college. Um, yeah, so that's the lineup that we have for, for the conference this coming October 22 and 23.
Yes. And I think for everyone watching us tonight, like, and for team replay, you don't have to have the strengths um test
Assessment, yeah.
to assessment before attending the conference, and you'll get a lot of value for it. Because me personally, especially during yung first talaga na conference, I really agree that it's super 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 amazing. Last year was also a blast. It was the first time it was digital. There was more interaction actually last year because of the Zoom calls, and then diba, we had like a breakout within the
Right.
Zoom pa, diba? Parang
Yes.
mga ganon, the smaller groups. Um but I think the real value for me for the strengths conference, when you're exploring or learning about your strengths, you learn about actual and real life experiences of people on how they discovered, explored their strengths, learned about themselves, and parang grew from whatever they with their current strengths and what they found out. Like, I love the stories of the people in terms of how they were able to apply. Kasi even if you know your strengths, or even for people who don't know the strengths, the reason we listen to people and their stories is really because it feels more relatable, right? Like, we know na, okay, yeah, I know that experience. I know parang that hardship. I know parang I've seen people like that. I've seen that part in myself. I'm able to connect ganon. Parang, and because of that, I think that's what will help you connect more with your strengths regardless of when you take the test or not.
Yeah,
And
definitely. And
this,
we do
go
have a
ahead,
lot of
sorry.
participants who don't take the assessment and they join us and still find it
Yes.
very valuable.
Mm-hmm. And and again, guys, like, I guess that's why we're having this partnership. We've been supporting Strengths Conference is because I really love it. I feel like it's something that will be useful in your personal lives, not just at work. And at the same time, I don't know kung matutuwa kayo or matatawa kayo, but ano siya, required attendance siya sa team namin.
Which
Because,
Belle was happy about.
yeah. Kasi parang you really learn a lot about yourself. And I guess in a way, if you look at yourself through a strengths lens, or like this, like in a self-development conference, like you learn more about yourself, you're able to detach yourself a bit, meaning you don't judge yourself too much, whatever you discover. Because parang, okay, I'm looking at it in a more objective perspective. And ayan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Celine. Na
No,
overtime ako.
no problem.
Ang
It's been a
daldal ko
fun
din.
conversation. I told you I can talk about it all night, but so I was like, okay, it's fine. Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. We
Ayan,
seem to have,
sorry.
yes.
A
We
winner. But Belle, you can assign the other prizes to the other people who answered. So
Yes, they actually
surprise
don't know
prizes.
yet.
They don't know yet because we're giving away 2 tickets for free for the Strengths Conference just today. And of course, meron pa kaming pag-gimmick if you're part of the Bella tribe. So watch out this week. We'll be announcing something there. So we will be giving away also a ticket in the Bella tribe. And next Tuesday, if you catch me and Celine, you will have a chance to win also some tickets to the Strengths Conference. And with that, Belle is ready to flash our winners for tonight. So the winners for the strengths test is may drum roll ba? Yeah.
Yay! Diane and
Yay!
Eileen. And
The Go ahead.
I believe Eileen, or her current name that's showing up is just Facebook user.
Yes, hindi ata nabigyan pa ng permission si StreamYard. But I think Belle did the extra work of checking in our Facebook pages. So congratulations, Diane, and congratulations, Eileen. Please screenshot this image and message us in the BDJ Facebook. Ay, ito, sorry. Merong instructions sa Belle. go.bdj.studio/prize claim. So we can give you the code so that you can claim your Gallup Strengths Test. Care of our birthday celebrant, Coach Celine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then, my surprise prize pa tayo, guys. Our surprise prize is 2 tickets to the Strengths Conference happening on October 22 and 23. And the winner is... Ready ba? Ayon. And, okay, sige, wait lang. Tinatype niya pa sa banner natin.
No
Guys, don't
problem.
forget that all of you watching us, and you can pass this on to your friends, early bird rate will be given to you guys when you sign up in here, tinyurl.com/sph21 conference. You need to write BDJ in your, hindi lang, or BDJ dar. Ganon. Lagyan mo yung name, yung word na BDJ, and then you get an early bird rate. So
Yes.
this is valid until Friday. Please do sign up because I really recommend it, guys. At least ano, even whether you know or don't know your strengths, I'm sure you'll learn more about yourself. And it will
Absolutely.
be fun, exciting to connect with other people who are there to develop themselves better. It's always a nice energy, right?
Definitely. It's always very fun. It's always very positive. Yes.
Okay. Ayan, ready
Ayan.
na si Belle. And our winners for the free tickets for the Strengths Finder Conference is Belle. Ayun, winner number
Yay.
1. Yay, si Sai Ai
And
Lan
Isa.
and Isa Garnica. Yay! Thank you guys. And with that, ano yan, don't forget, screenshot your name, Isa and Sai, and please claim it at go.bdj.studio/prize claim. So we will be in touch so we can get in touch with you. Like that. Thank you and congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations. Thanks for joining us today.
And thank you so much, Coach Celine, and happy birthday again. And
Thank you, Dar.
I'll see you on Tuesday and on the Strengths Conference.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yay, thank you. Good night, Bellas.
Good night, Bella.